Turismo is a mission in Grand Theft Auto 3, and it's a mission I always remember quite fondly from when I was younger, because it was like taking my two favourite series of games, Grand Theft Auto and Gran Turismo, and putting them together. Because essentially you are racing around Liberty City, well specifically Portland. Now for this mission the game allows you to choose any car you like. So obviously you're going to use the fastest car that you can find, right? Which is probably the Infernus. However, what would happen if you intentionally chose a worse car than you were allowed? And that's what I was aiming to find out with this video essentially. What's the worst car you can possibly beat Turismo with? Let's find out. Now, one of the things that makes this possible is that the AI isn't particularly good. To be honest, the AI pathfinding was in its infancy at this time, to be honest. It was probably one of the first games to include this kind of AI behaviour. And what that means is that although the opponents are all in cheaters, which is the second fastest car in the game, they're not particularly good at driving them. So therefore we should be able to use slower cars and still win the race. But how slow can we go? Okay, to start off I'm going to be using the best car in the game, or at least the fastest car in the game, which is the Infernus. And I'm going to be doing the standing start as well. So here we go, 3, 2, 1 and we're off. So I think intentionally I'm holding back a little bit at this point in the race. As I mentioned, the AI isn't too good at finding where they're supposed to be going. So they will crash a lot, they will change direction without much warning. So to be honest, it's just safer to hang back at the start, as long as you're not going for the fastest time possible, of course. And there you go, you can see one of the AI cars actually kind of spun me around but hit me into one of the other AI cheaters, fortunately. And to be honest, like, once I've got past them, that's possibly the last time in at least this race that we're going to see the opponents, because it is, as I say, pretty easy. And as you can see, I'm not trying to be super fast here, I am being quite conservative. So here we are, already in St. Mark's. It's a pretty lonely race at this point really, it's just me versus the checkpoints, it's not me versus the opponents anymore. Obviously I am playing the PS2 version here, so I am having to contend with traffic. On the PC version there is a glitch, which I think I've shown in a previous video a long time ago, where you can essentially stop traffic from spawning, which of course makes the race a lot easier, specifically a lot easier to get a fast time. If you didn't know, I actually hold the joint third fastest time in the world for Turismo, and I set that record about 7 years ago. As I say, it is third, so there are 2 times that are faster than mine, and 1 time which is joint with mine. So yeah, maybe one day I'll try and go a bit faster, see if I can even get the record, but I don't know. And here we go, we're on the final straight now. Coming up to the line, and it's going to be a time of 136 seconds. I think the world record is about 116 seconds, so as I say, I was being very conservative and I did have traffic to contend to. But now that we've won the race, let's downgrade our vehicle to something else. And here I am in a coach. I decided to skip over kind of some of the mid-range of vehicles and just jump straight to the kind of big, slower vehicles. Now there is one advantage of using a vehicle like a coach, and that is because it's very strong and very heavy. So you can just bash the cheaters out the way if you want to. But of course, this time that I'm going to set is going to be likely way slower than the Infernus, but how much slower? And indeed, can we still win the race? Well, as you can see at this point, we are in second, almost in third. So yeah, we're not having it all our own way this time. Of course, the cheater is a much faster vehicle than the coach. But again, we've got the AI to help us out. And yeah, the leading cheater there just managed to have an accident all by himself. So here we go in the coach. The ideal route is to go right through that bush there, and it can be a little bit dangerous because if you hit it in the wrong place, it can really make your car spin out of control or even flip over. It's a very dangerous bush. So yeah, as I mentioned, I am following what I think is the fastest route for Turismo. But yeah, ultimately it is a checkpoint race, so you're not following a specific circuit. You just have to make sure that you collect every single checkpoint. So the route that you choose between checkpoints is entirely up to you. So here we are, we're in Hepburn Heights now, going towards the red light district, and we are still first at the moment. So yeah, obviously, the coach, I mean, I thought I was taking a big step down from the Infernus to the coach, and we may well find that the time that we set is a lot slower. But at the moment, we're not really having too many issues from the AI. They're not really presenting a challenge to us, to be honest. So yeah, here we are in St. Mark's, coming down to collect this checkpoint down the hill. Oh, there's an ambulance that I obviously used earlier. That wasn't intended to be an obstacle on the course. Of course, the AI may well have some trouble with that, who knows. But yeah, here we go, not far to go till the finish line now. We're in Chinatown. Going to skip across here, we're going to just hit that taxi out the way. As I mentioned, the coach is obviously very big, very strong, so you can do that. I didn't try to do that with the other opponents in the race, but with the other traffic cars that are just getting in the way, I think that's alright. So here we go, coming up to the finish line, and it's going to be a time of 170 seconds. So again, we've won the race. Let's downgrade the vehicle and see what's next. Okay, I have gone for the Yankee next. Now, I could have picked the Mule as well, but I don't know. I think they're both quite similar. So yeah, I just ended up picking the Yankee, not for any real reason. But yeah, here we go. So this is our third vehicle that we're going to try and beat Turismo with. So the first question is, can we win the race? And the second question is, what is the time going to be like in comparison to the time that we just set with the coach? Yeah, important to bear in mind, we set a time of 170 seconds with the coach. Oh, well, there, the AI did overtake us for a very brief moment before crashing off the racetrack. So yeah, here we go. Obviously, we're following the same route every time, just using a different vehicle. And I did make a little bit of a mistake there, but never mind. So here we go, again, through that bush. Important not to clip that extra bit of bush that just juts out at the end there. That really can make you have a worse time by way of crashing. So here we go, yeah, coming through St. Mark's again, as I say, following the same route really, because I think this is probably the fastest route. It is at least the route that the world record takes, and all the other records that are close to it, to be honest. Right, coming into St. Mark's now. Now, this can be quite a tricky thing for a slow vehicle to navigate, because you've got this massive uphill section where you typically lose a lot of speed. So that is what I noticed when I was filming for this video. That is going to be the really tricky point. Not because it's difficult to drive or anything, but as I say, the slower cars will lose momentum a lot more than the faster cars will. But unfortunately, after you've gone up, you do go back down again. So you have a section where you're obviously gaining speed instead of losing speed. So here we are, there's one of the AI opponents there, still on a previous part of the circuit. So almost, well, we're not lapping them, but we are, they're not exactly in danger of overtaking us for the win. Here we are again on the final straight, coming up to the final checkpoint. What is the time going to be? It's 172 seconds, so 2 seconds slower than the coach. Okay, let's downgrade the vehicle once again, because of course we did win the race in the Yankee and we set a new record time, the record slowest time of 172 seconds. So yeah, now we're in the Securicar, another big heavy car which is going to be really easy for us to just hit anything out of the way. The question here is, will it be fast enough to win the race while setting a new record for the slowest time so far in this video? So here we go. We haven't really seen too much of the AI yet. Oh wait, no, here we go. One of the cheaters is alongside us and he's crashed into the rumpo. Obviously, as I mentioned several times, the AI at this point was not particularly good. As I say, I think it's classed as like pathfinding AI, where they're not just going around a specific circuit and they're not like obeying the laws of traffic. They are essentially going between two checkpoints, and the AI has to figure out the best way between them because it's not linear. So here we go in St. Mark's, and to be honest, like we're still leading this race pretty comfortably. We haven't really picked a car yet that's caused us too much trouble, either in terms of speed and time, or in terms of the opponents overtaking us. Also, I should call out this section of the track here as we go past Borgnine taxis. I think that's arguably the toughest section of this circuit. Well, I say circuit. There's not really a better route between those two checkpoints, so you're almost forced to go through there. Yeah, it's really hard because it's very bumpy, it's very wiggly, if you like. There are like 2 or 3 corners, almost like a chicane. And yeah, when you're in a fast car like the Infernus, all that undulation is really, like, it really upsets the balance of the car. So yeah, I do think if you were trying to get a good time in Turismo, then I think a lot of potential records could be won and lost in that section, to be honest. But here we are in St. Mark's. We've gone up that hill again, and I'm looking behind me, and I cannot see any of the 3 cheaters. So yeah, obviously they are busy crashing somewhere. Here we go, coming down the hill, braking, and then there's a Mafia Sentinel in the way, and we managed to avoid it quite well there, I think. And I'm still looking back. I'm still looking backwards. Oh, there's a cheater, so we can see one. Can see one cheater, so will it actually pose a threat to us as we get to the very end of the race? So here we go, coming onto the final straight now. And whoa, a couple of vans to contend with, and we've got a taxi ahead of us. I'm looking back and I can't see anything, so it looks like it's going to be victory again for us in the Securicar this time, with a time of 177 seconds. Okay, what could be worse than the Securicar? Well, I know we've been focusing on big and heavy cars at the moment, or at least so far in the video, but actually some of the slowest vehicles in the game don't really fit into that category of vehicles. One of the slowest vehicles in the game is arguably the Moonbeam, the crappy people carrier. Yes, one of the cars that I dislike. It doesn't have much going for it. Apart from it can do the 180 reverse, the J-turn, which is pretty cool, but yeah, not enough to really win me over. So yeah, even though this is a smaller car, obviously has way less weight behind it, it just has almost 0 power, to be honest. It is just not a quick car, and it is at risk of toppling over as well. Now, it's not as bad as the Landstalker in terms of its ability to fall over, but it is a little bit top heavy. And as I'm going slower, I can avoid taking the route through the bush in that section of the course there. Instead, I went through that, I guess, path, or sidewalk is probably the best way to say it. Now, the reason I don't tend to do that in faster cars is because you have a tighter turn at the end. If you take a wider turn through the bush, you can carry your speed a lot better. But in a car as slow as this, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. We can just take that line, even though it typically would be slower. It's just not, because we're in a slower car, and therefore the tight turn at the end means that we don't lose as much speed as we usually would. So yeah, here we go. The trickiest part of the course, but not really for a car that's as slow as this, going past Borgnine taxis, and then obviously through Hepburn Heights. And then we go through Hepburn Heights on the way to the red light district. Of course, the districts in GTA 3 are all very small. It's a smaller city, and so all the different districts are very condensed, you know. You do get nice areas right next to rubbish areas, really. So here we go, coming up the hill there. A Moonbeam did try to knock us off course. I think that was a pissed off driver that was just causing havoc there among the traffic. But we did manage to get up the hill, and now we've got the virtue of coming down the hill and hopefully gaining a lot of speed. Probably never see a faster Moonbeam than this. Although we do have to brake at the bottom, of course, to make that left-hand turn. We go through the checkpoint. Will the time be slower than 100, I think it was 177 seconds for the Securicar? Will the time be slower, and will we win the race? Well, oh, That was risky. The pedestrian ran out into the road there and almost caused us to topple over and crash into a lamppost. But fortunately, we have still won the race with a time of 178 seconds. So maybe it could have actually been faster than the Securicar, but that's the thing about the traffic. Just throws an unpredictable element into the race. Okay, how are we going to downgrade even further? Well, how about the Perennial? Yes, and just as an extra challenge, I am going to do a standing start. Again, just to make the race a little bit harder. As you saw before, you can do essentially a rolling start, or at least a rolling start for your car, not a rolling start for any of the other cars. And as long as you touch one of the cheaters when you pass through them, the race will start. So yeah, I thought I would try and make it a little bit more difficult because we haven't really had a big challenge so far. It's been relatively easy, even though we've been using way worse cars than you're actually allowed to use for this mission. As I say, you can use whatever car you like. There are no restrictions on it at all. Yeah, cheaters, the AI cheaters, having some obligatory issues there, of course. And we have made our way into first place, at least for now. So here we go, taking the same route as always, of course. Will we go through the bush or down? No, we're going down the path. As I say, it doesn't make a big difference in such a slow car. That tight turn at the end doesn't mean that you actually lose a lot of speed. Man, do you know what? The Perennial is just so slow. And another thing that's worth mentioning, and maybe something that you won't really just pick up on in the video, is that its brakes are absolutely diabolical. Definitely has one of the worst braking abilities in the game. Another car that springs to mind for worst brakes is potentially the Esperanto, which is of course a faster car than the Perennial, but yeah, still very much lacking in the brakes department. So here we are again, the dreaded hill heading up to St. Mark's. Arguably one of the toughest sections of the course for a slow car like this, at least. You know, if you're in a fast car, it's not going to cause you any problems at all, but yeah, if you're in a slow car like this, it's really important to keep up that momentum when you're entering this hilly section. And oh my god, going down the other side there, we almost crash into a Mafia Sentinel, and then we almost crash into a taxi, but fortunately we avoided them both. Kudos to whoever made the hitboxes for the car in this game, because I do think they're pretty well made, they're pretty accurate. So here we go, coming up, oh well, I guess we couldn't avoid it forever. We were smashed into an Esperanto. I was talking about the Esperanto earlier. We happened to just get derailed by one. So here we go. Coming up to the finish though, what is our time going to be? It's going to be 180 seconds this time. And still, we haven't really had a big challenge from the AI. So here we go. Let's up the ante again. Once again, we finished the race. We won the race. And that means we're going to pick something slower. And that slower thing is the Manana, of course. Possibly the slowest car in the game. Not necessarily the slowest vehicle, but arguably the slowest car in the game. Despite its size, you know, it's probably quite light, and it is quite nimble, to be fair. It is just so slow. Obviously, you'll probably remember the mission Dead Skunk in the Trunk, where you're forced to drive a Manana all the way to the car crusher, while you're being chased by Sentinels, which are of course much faster. And although I don't think that mission has ever been really challenging, it is made more challenging by the fact that you're forced to drive the Manana, which is of course a much slower vehicle. So here we go, we are actually in third place at the moment as we head through Chinatown. The AI, or at least two of the AI cars are ahead of us. But the AI, and I've never really realised this because I'm usually just ahead at this point, the AI goes left at that point and then right, and it comes out, as you can see, opposite the hospital. So I don't think that is the optimum route. The AI also goes straight on there, whereas we go right and then left. We try and get on the road as soon as possible, this road that we're on now, just so we've got a straight run all the way from the checkpoint back there to the checkpoint at the bottom here. So I do think that is the optimum route, just because it's the straightest route, to be honest. So, oh, there goes the AI once again, flipping out. They can't blame me for that. No, definitely not. But yeah, I think I'm trying to think whether the game, like if the AI does flip over in the race, I'm trying to think whether the game will actually flip them back so they can carry on with the race. Can't recall whether that's the case or not. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, ultimately, there are 3 AI cars against 1 of me in the Manana. So in theory, they really should have the advantage. But fortunately, we do seem to be in the lead. Well, I was going to say we do seem to be in the lead right now until we get overtaken by a cheetah. Again, it's that hill. That hill as we go up to St. Mark's is really killing us. But fortunately, we're still in with a chance because the cheetah spun out. So thank you, AI, once again. But, oh no, it's our turn to spin out, actually. We hit a Mafia Sentinel. But the cheetah, the red cheetah's had another accident all on its own. But are we out of the woods yet? Let's find out. We are not. Here's one of the other cheetahs. Have we been overtaken? Kind of. What happened there? I think it crashed into a lamppost. But here we go. So we're on to the final straight. And we were under pressure from one of the cheetahs, but it's gone somewhere. I don't know where. It's obviously crashed somewhere. And here we go. We still managed to win the race. It was a lot closer that time. But we managed to win with a time of 183 seconds. So again, we have to downgrade our vehicle one more time. And here is a hell of a downgrade. We are now in a Mr. Whoopee ice cream van. I mean, you can't get that much slower than this. So I'm going to show you a couple of my failed attempts. It took me a few tries to even get close to winning. So to be honest, I wasn't sure at one point whether I was actually going to be able to do this in a Mr. Whoopee. So here you can see I am 3rd at the moment as we come towards Chinatown from St. Mark's. And it doesn't help that the AI just crashed us into a police car. And there we go. That is as far as we could get before the AI managed to finish the race. So I'm just going to show you another attempt now. I was actually 1st at this point in the race as we go from Hepburn Heights towards the red light district. You could see the cheetahs there when I quickly looked behind me, and again, they are very much there. So let's see what happens this time. We are coming up to this hilly section once again. It does seem to be the kryptonite for these slow vehicles, and the cheetah, despite the AI driving it, has easily passed us for a minute before falling off the edge of a cliff. But we've been overtaken by 2 more cheetahs now, and oh well, that's why this went wrong then. Doesn't help that we crashed into a Mafia Sentinel and blew up. Yes. So here we go. I thought after a few attempts I'd give it one final go, see whether this was even possible. So here we are on the starting straight, and we're going to come through, we're going to tap one of the cheetahs. Like, there's no way I'm doing a standing start in this thing. And we are in 1st place as we go around the 1st corner. I'm trying to cut as many of the corners as I can, trying to take the optimum lines just to save any time I can possibly save. And as we come around that corner, we are already overtaken by one of the cheetahs. But fortunately, it crashed into a taxi. Now, I know I've said throughout this video that the AI for the cheetahs is terrible, and it is, but I don't think that was its fault. I think the taxi, like, swerved out and crashed into the cheetah. So yeah, I don't think I can blame the AI for that one. And unbelievably, heading into Chinatown, we still find ourselves in 1st place. I could not believe it. Essentially, I'm just going to keep going, try not to look behind me all that often. Just try and focus on the road ahead. Again, taking that tighter line into that corner, just because we're in a slower car so that it doesn't really make a huge difference. So we might as well take the shortest route possible. We also passed by another Mr. Whoopee there. It's quite funny. I feel like the only time you see a Mr. Whoopee in this game is when you're already driving a Mr. Whoopee. It's probably the rarest vehicle that can spawn in traffic. Unless you count any of the glitched cars, like the taxi without the taxi sign, or the Hood's Rumpo XL without the graffiti. I think if you're going to count glitched cars, they're probably the rarest. But in terms of standard traffic cars, the Mr. Whoopee is the rarest. So I think I got this from the mission I Scream You Scream. That is probably the easiest way to get a Mr. Whoopee in the game. And obviously what the game wants you to do in that mission is blow it up, but you don't have to do that to finish the mission, so you can just keep it. Anyway, before I go off on an even bigger tangent, we are going up the hill and inevitably we have been overtaken by a cheater, but fortunately it crashes into the car park at Marco's Bistro and it's setting off all kinds of car alarms. So that's really helped us out. But they're still behind us. I keep looking behind me every now and again. There's the ambulance once again that I left there and the game just never despawned. So here we go, coming down the hill to this left-hander. We've gone a little bit wide there. We've gone a little bit wide and lost a bit of speed. I can see one of the cheaters behind me. What is going to happen? Oh my god, it's so close. It's so close. Are we going to be overtaken right when the race is about to finish? It's right there. It's right there. But then, fortunately, I think it went round Punk Noodles instead of just taking the normal route, which means that we are going to win Turismo in a Mr. Whoopee with a time of 191 seconds. I honestly didn't think you could go that slow and still win the race. But the Mr. Whoopee has proven us wrong. And that was the slowest car that I could still win Turismo with. I did try it with some other cars, like I have tried it with the Dodo in the past, if you can believe that, which is potentially the slowest vehicle on in the game, as long as we're not counting flying, of course. And I also did try the Trashmaster as well. So unfortunately, I think some vehicles are just too slow. They're just too slow to win Turismo with. Now, I think an interesting experiment could be, like if you blew up all the other cheaters, or you kind of, I don't know, you boxed them in somehow so they couldn't get out. Maybe if you spawned loads of rhinos in like a massive circle around the cheaters to just completely enclose them. An interesting experiment could be what the slowest time you could possibly get with a vehicle like the Trashmaster in Turismo. Because obviously when the other vehicles cross the finish line, that's going to mean that we get the mission failed screen. So we'll never see how fast or slow our time could have been. So as you can see in that clip there, I only made it as far as St. Mark's before the rest of the cheaters won the race. And at that point, I kind of decided that, you know what, like, it's too much of a mountain to overcome. Like, if I was close to winning the race, I'd probably keep trying, but I was miles off anyway. So yeah, there we go. The Mr. Whoopee, arguably the slowest car you can win Turismo with without cheating. But if you think you can win with a slower vehicle, please do let me know in the comments, and even better, if you want to upload some video footage of you doing it, again without cheating, then please do share that with me because I'd love to see it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you for the next one very soon.